Welcome to the 5:30 p.m. September 21st, 2023 special City Council budget meeting. We do have a quorum, so I'll call this meeting to order. Would you please join me in a moment of silence? And the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. That's right. Clerk, would you read the rules to speak, please?
Yes, sir. Individuals wishing to speak on agenda items must complete a sign-up card prior to the item being introduced. Sign-up cards are available on the table. Individuals wishing to speak on non-agenda items may do so under public comment. No sign-up card is required. Citizens will be given 3 minutes to speak on all items. All sign-up cards and exhibits being submitted to City Council shall be placed in the box on the table.
Thank you very much. City Manager.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council. If we could go ahead and pull up the slides, we'll get rolling on this. 114 slides. It should take us less than an hour to get through those, so
okay.
I hope you can bear with me with that. First slide. The budget process started on 19 February 2022 with a public input meeting. The proposed budget was adopted on 28 July 2023 at 6.7945 mils and the proposed debt millage of 0.2234 mils. We held a budget workshop on 17 August, and the operating millage was reduced to 6.7945. The first public hearing was held on 6 September, and this is your second public hearing. City Manager or City Attorney will read the ordinances for the record.
Ordinance number 37, 2023, an ordinance of the City of Titusville, Florida, providing for the millage for the operation of the City of Titusville and voted debt service levy for fiscal year 2024 and providing for an effective date. Ordinance number 38, 2023, an ordinance of the City of Titusville, Florida, adopting the general and related budgets of the City of Titusville for the fiscal year 2024 and providing for an effective date. Ordinance number 39, 2023, an ordinance of the City of Titusville, Florida, amending section 21-241, subsection 3 of the Code of Ordinances by amending and increasing the schedule of rates and charges for water and sewer service, providing for severability, repeal of conflicting ordinances, an effective date, and incorporation into the code. Ordinance number 40, 2023, an ordinance of the City of Titusville, Florida, amending section 16-116 of the Code of Ordinances by amending and establishing an increase to the residential monthly charge for solid waste, recycling, and additional cart fees, and by amending section 16-117 of the Code of Ordinances by amending and establishing an increase to the commercial dumpster and commercial can monthly charges for solid waste and recycling fees, and increasing the commercial dumpster rental fees, and by amending section 16-118 of the Code of Ordinances by amending and establishing an increase in the extra charges for special services, providing for severability, repeal of conflicting ordinances, an effective date, and incorporation into the code. Ordinance number 41, 2023, an ordinance of the City of Titusville, Florida, adopting the Enterprise Fund and Capital Improvements Program budgets of the City of Titusville for the fiscal year 2024 and providing for an effective date.
Procedurally, according to Florida statute, at both the first and public hearings, City Council must adopt its millage rate before it adopts its operating and capital budgets. The public may speak and ask questions before the City Council adopts any of the proposed budget-related ordinances. Here's the total budget revenues, $132 million, and you can see on the graphic of where those monies come from. Second slide is where our expenditures are, and you can see, again, this graphically displayed where those expenditures are occurring. This is required to be read publicly. The City of Titusville, Florida is the taxing authority. 6.4048 is the rolled back millage rate. The operating millage rate to be levied is proposed to be 6.7945 mils. The percent of increase over the rolled back millage rate is 6.08%, which is characterized as a tax increase. The voted debt millage rate to be levied is 0.2234 mils. The FY24 budget is built on an operating millage rate of 6.7945 mils, which is 10% above the prior year's revenue. This is the lowest millage rate we've had in the city of Titusville in 15 years. During the public hearing, City Council must discuss the percentage increase of millage over rollback rate, if any, to fund the general fund budget and the purposes for which the ad valorem tax increases are being used, and hear comments from the public regarding the increase in ad valorem rates. The FY 2024 budget, again, is proposed at 6.7945 mils, which is 6.08 above the rollback rate of 6.4048 mils, generating $1.8 million of additional revenue collected over the FY23 adopted budget for ad valorem. The purpose of the proposed budget, the additional dollars, will fund a 4.5% COLA to attract and retain the best-in-class workforce. It'll fund increases in public safety staffing levels, vehicles, and equipment, and funds the increased cost of consumables due to inflationary pressures. Whittling it down into the general fund. The general fund is revenues equal $52,688,353. You can see that 41% of the revenues come from property taxes. On expenditures, the big pie there is 50% of your general fund goes towards public safety. The ad valorem for FY24 proposed per resident comparison, you can see that Titusville is all the way to the left, the next lowest, which is Brevard County. And they have a different way of, it's not apples to apples because you have a lot of MSTUs that actually fund other portions of the Brevard County. So I believe that we were probably, as per capita, the lowest millage rate in the county. In comparison, just the general millage rates to our peer cities, you can see we're up there, and that is based also on property values. The higher your property values, you should have a lower millage rate. The property tax, this is a house that's assessed property value is $229,200, and it's also an exempted home. And you can see the breakout of where the tax dollars goes. Approximately 38% goes to Brevard County School Board, 37% to the City of Titusville, 22% to Brevard County, and then the various small percentages to St. John's and the independent special districts and our debt also. On to utility rate changes. Stormwater management utility proposes a 16% increase in fees annually to a residential impact. That will be $15.88 or $1.32 per month. Solid waste proposes 9.5% increase in refuge, annual residential increase of $17.16 or $1.43 per month. Recycling, a 14% increase. The annual residential impact would be $2.38 or a 20-cent increase per month. When you compare the stormwater rates for single-family home, these rates are compared to other cities without taking into account what their adjustments are. So these are the current rates of the other cities. And then you put ours in there, which is circled in red, our current, and then also our proposed. Once the other stormwater utilities put the rates in, I'm sure we'll slide further to the left. Solid waste comparison, Titusville is one of the lowest in the county again. Commercial on a 4x4 or 4x1 dumpster, you can see where our existing and proposed lies. On to typical residential monthly bill on a 3/4 inch meter. The rates currently average $89.47 per family. The 3% increase will be taking the water rate up to $92.16 a month for a $2.70 increase per month. On a commercial 3/4 inch meter, the existing currently would be $113.97. The 3% increase takes that to $117.36 or a $3.39 increase per month. On a commercial 1.5 meter or inch meter, the current is $314.66 a month. The 3% increase will take that rate to $324.01, or a $9.36 increase per month. Again, the comparison of the water and sewage rates, water being in blue, sewer being in green. You can see where Titusville lies with existing and proposed. And this again is compared to the surrounding cities that have not had any increases. This is the current increase that they're having. And as an example, the city of Edgewater has proposed a 12% increase, so we will slide additionally to the left on that. So the action items for council, follow-up action is to adopt the millage rate of 6.7945, which generates ad valorem revenue, an additional revenue of $1,871,288 over the FY23 adopted budget. Additions to the budget would require budget offset or reductions equal or greater to the additions. Make no changes to the budget is also an option for you. Council actions, we have read the ordinances for the record. Mayor, you will open the final public hearing on each of the related ordinances, take the cards, deliberate, and vote.
Okay. City Attorney, per usual on this, we're going to seek your guidance and make sure we get this right. According to the paper, we move on the public comment on millage, ordinance 3723 and ordinance 3823.
Yes, sir. Since they're related, we'll take comments as to both ordinance 37, which is the millage ordinance, and the budget ordinance, ordinance 38. And we'll take cards and allow the public to speak as to both ordinances at this time. We'll then, once public comment is over, we'll close public comment, have your discussion, and then we'll accept separate motions and votes on the millage ordinance and the budget ordinance. And
All right, we'll go one thing at a time here, as we did at the last meeting. Council, any questions or concerns? All right. City, hold on one second. City Clerk, call the cards on millage ordinance 37, 2023 and 38, 2023.
Okay, Mr. Trenton?
I don't really know what, my name's Trenton Mansfield, 1585 Pintax Avenue. I didn't really know what, I'm just going to regurgitate what I said last year. Last year you said you were going to raise taxes because of inflation. Well, inflation this year is not what it was last year. And just a quick question, it's 6.9%, right? Is what we're raising it?
I'll let the table answer.
Manager?
Get it right.
It's 6.08.
6.08, okay, my bad, I was off by almost one. But the inflation isn't where it's at. And I'll regurgitate what I said last year. I said last year that this isn't gonna hurt people like me. I am homesteaded. I think it went up $35 last year. But every year, it's always more, and it's only $25 a year, and I'm speaking on the water, I'm speaking on and it's only this and it's only that. Who it's going to affect here in the city is the renters. Because we're capped at 3% a year, I think they're capped at 8% a year. And it's gonna affect the renters. I say that every year, and like I said, it's not gonna affect me, but it's gonna affect the fixed incomes of the city. So we need to really sit back and think, is there anything in our budget that we can possibly cut? Anything? One thing that we can possibly cut? Is there nothing? And it's just another $1 million. Last year it was another whatever it was last year. The year before that, I think y'all did raise it the year before that, but the year before that y'all went with the rollback rate. I'm from Lake County, and many cities in the county are going with the rollback rate. I have a minute left. I don't think the economy is going to be doing all that great. Our stock market went down again today. Are we ready? Are we ready as a city? Are we just raising taxes? That's what I'm saying. I've said it for the 5 years I've been coming here. Been saying the same message. Have I not, Sarah? I've been saying the same message over and over and over again. Think about the renters. It's not the people who own a home here in the city it's going to affect. It's not gonna hurt me. I mean, yeah, do I want to give more money to government because I think they could spend it better than me? No, I don't. But it's the renters of the city. So that's all I have to say on the budgeting process. Thank you.
Thank you, Trenton. You good? Good?
A little tangled up.
You pushing a button or no? No? Okay. Next card, please.
Katie Delaney.
Hi, my name is Katie Delaney. I actually am a former resident of Titusville. I moved out of this city because the taxes are so much higher than the county. On an over 4-acre property, I spend less money in taxes and property taxes than I did in my house in Hickory Hills. And I know that most of you say you're Republicans up on this dais, yet every year the taxes go up and up and up. What about the elderly? What about the disabled? What about the renters, as the last speaker was talking about? It's time we tighten our belts rather than just asking the people for more money. We're not an endless piggy bank. The city governments are going to tax the people and the county. I'm not giving them a pass either because they're taxing people a lot too. But you guys are going to tax us out of our homes, tax our businesses out of business, and then what are we going to have left? Thank you.
Thank you. Next card.
Stan Johnston has signed up for both ordinances, so are we doing 6 minutes? Yes.
City Attorney, I think that's what we did last time. Go ahead, Stan.
Pass out the handout?
I will.
Start him up.
Okay, here comes the handout. Stan Johnston, and I'm a former employee of the city of Titusville. There's something that we've heard many times, and that is that do unto others as you would have done unto you. And I would like this budget and millage rate to reflect that, but it's not. It's not in a number of areas, and they're serious areas. There's serious areas about a sewage spill and spraying people with sewage in the parks. It's not addressed anywhere in the budgeting system whatsoever, although I've brought it up many, many, many times. Posters and so forth about this, the fraud and the sewage and so forth, and yet the city of Titusville still does nothing about it. I just sent an email today regarding the fraud, and that why doesn't council, what justification does council and city manager have to not respond to my questions? Like, for example, I say, well, in your budget, you should hire an engineer that will dispute my findings of the city's dishonesty, fraud, and violation of laws. So the justification in this fraud that began in 2019 is that the mayor said by the mayor is that, by God, you know what? Since we have this report that Stan Johnston is incorrect in just about everything he says and writes, I'm not going to listen to anything he says, and neither is anybody else. So you don't have to listen to me is what you've got. And that's not right. That's not right, because I'm giving you problems, petitions, requests, and so forth, and they're ignored and they're denied. Simple things like spraying women and children and babies with piss and poop. I know of no city in Florida that does that. I know of no city in the United States that does that. I know of no city in the world that does that. I don't think there's any city in the universe that sprays women, children, and babies with sewage. But we did it here in the city of Titusville for how long? 4 months. In spite of complaints from people, in spite of petitions and requests, in spite of numerous phone calls to city manager and Mr. Stauffer and numerous phone calls, it never stopped. I tell you what, even cats know to bury their poop.
Stan, get back
Because it's
to
bad.
the budget, please.
And the thing is that you need to include in your budget
There you go.
something to stop what's going on. Stop going on. And you don't have anything that I know of. All you have is, like, what I can say is, it's historically has happened is fraud, a way to shut me up or to not listen to anything that I say. And we have, for example, Mr. Herman Cole, after I bring some criticism, he praises our city manager. Praises him. It's like, what do you call it? Like a cover-up. A cover-up of horrible things that he's doing. I'm trying to tell you is that spraying women and children and babies and cars and everything is not safe. We spent over $50 million on safety, health, to protect our citizens. And yet, we spray visitors, women, children, people don't know what they're doing. Even during Christmas, we sprayed them when the wind blew, with sewage. We wouldn't turn the fountains off. That's not bad. It's horrible. And I'm saying, I know of no place, I'm a registered engineer, I don't know if there's any place in the universe that would do that. Fact is, even little kids, they're taught early that, poop is a dirty stuff. You don't play around with it. But the city of Titusville does it, not only in the spraying of women and children, but also in our streets and in our yards.
Stan, bounce back to the budget.
So this item should be something on the budget. It really should be, but it's not. It's not at all. So in other words, we have false reports, which are actually, it's illegal for the city to file false reports. False reports of the sewage, which the city is liable for. That's a money issue. It's a money issue. We have right now, as you know, I don't know what's going on, but there's some attorney is alleging that some boy here in Titusville is paralyzed because of the sewage in the river and no signs. We should be able to afford signs to put up the river. But historically, with Mr. Stauffer, we've done nothing. I appreciate the recent efforts that Mr. Cook has done to alleviate some of this problem. But we have a big problem that should financially be addressed by City Council, which is not. And I want you to do unto others as you would have done unto you. And you don't want your children and neighbors sprayed with piss and poop. Thank you.
Any other cards? All right.
Can I ask a question before I make a motion?
Yep, go ahead.
So what was the inflation rate last year? 8 point.
Inflation rate was 8.6%.
8.6. And the raises we gave last year, the increase was what percent?
About 8%.
Okay.
No, it's 5%.
It was
Now, that's a
5%.
COLA. We also did pay adjustments based on other things.
Right, but COLA was 5%.
Right.
Yes.
So this year, we're bumping up a little bit more than our inflationary rate, which sort of balances that out,
Yeah,
correct?
Social Security was 3.6, so we were at 4.5 because we did not go high enough the previous year.
Okay. So this is sort of my response to Katie. I went opposite. I moved from the county into the city. And I will say that my taxes went up, obviously. But my services, my level of service also went up. So when I was in the county, I had a kid go into my garage at night, sort of snuck in. Actually, he did sneak in. And he apparently was spraying for some other kid at a football game. And it took The sheriff's office, like 10 minutes to get there. Titusville was already there by the time they got there. So I think the level of services, one, is a little bit more. And two, we all get, well, I don't get raises every year, but when I worked, I got raises every year. And we can't turn around and say, let's keep our taxes low and not give anybody a raise. So that's my thought. So I can make a motion unless
I
somebody
see no
else.
other lights. Go ahead.
10 minutes.
Oh, we're good. Let's go.
Any rate, I move to approve ordinance number 37-2023 of the city of Titusville levying an operating millage rate of 6.7945 mils, which was a 6.08 increase above the rollback rate of 6.4048 mils, and to levy a voted debt service millage of 0.2234 mils.
Second.
First of all, city attorney, is that correct? Yes. All right, have a motion from member Nelson, a second from member Cole. Roll call vote.
Member Cole?
Yes.
Member Nelson?
Yes.
Mayor Diesel?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Robinson?
Yes.
Member Stokel?
Yes.
Passes unanimously. I say city manager, but I'm not sure that's what I do here.
Ordinance 38.
You're on to ordinance number 38, 2023.
Okay.
Are we ready for the
No,
motion?
no, not at all.
No.
This is on the budget. So, go ahead, 38, 2023. Go ahead.
You want me to-
Yeah, go ahead, I'm sorry.
All right. I move to approve ordinance 3823, adopting the general fund and related budget of the city of Titusville.
Second.
Motion from Vice Mayor, second from member Nelson. Roll call vote.
Member Nelson?
Yes.
Mayor Diesel?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Robinson?
Yes.
Member Stokel?
Yes.
Member Cole?
Yes.
Passes unanimously. We move on to ordinance number 39, 2023. Any staff comments? I see none. Public comment, call the card. Ards.
Stan Johnston?
3 minutes,
Thank you.
start clock.
Addressing, let me address you, is that years ago, my family we went on a vacation. I think it was Carter Caves, Kentucky, and they had a little type of a zoo there. They had some monkeys, and apparently this guy thought it was funny about the monkeys, and the monkeys felt like he was being disrespectful. So the monkey came over and grabbed the man's hat, went over in the corner cage, defecated in it, pooped in it, and then gave it back to the gentleman. Because the monkey understands that poop is what? It's hazardous to your health. So he didn't appreciate, that was his appreciation for that. Maybe you guys would like the same thing happen to your hats. Because for goodness sakes, what you're doing when you're spraying women and children and so forth, this is the sewage water, is that, by golly, it's not healthy. And when you're spending $50 million on health and safety and you ignore and you go ahead and spray, only place in the United States of America that'll do this, I know of. Only city in the United States. This is getting to be not Titusville, but Poopville. Poopville, Titusville, in which what you do is something very unhealthy, and you're spending $50 million on safety and health on something else, and this is incredibly obvious. I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed of what you're doing. I'm ashamed of what the city manager is doing. We got money, and yet what do? We spend it on something else other than what, and by golly, I don't think any of you would have your children out there or your grandchildren out there when the wind is blowing and it's spraying it. I mean, my car was covered with sewage. I didn't know it was happening. I was out there. The wind was blowing. It wasn't a terribly strong wind, but I know it's been terribly strong enough to go over even into the condominiums or that big high rise. I don't remember what it's called over there across the street. This is horrible. So I would like you in your budget to go ahead and include somehow a deterrent to this. spraying sewage on women, children, and babies. Results vomiting, diarrhea, headaches, nausea. You shouldn't be doing that. I'm ashamed that my hometown's doing this. Please wake up. You didn't say anything what I said last time at this, just a few minutes ago when I spoke. Nothing, no response. No, thank you.
Thank you. Next card. Staff comments? I see no comments. I believe we can move into a motion.
Move to approve ordinance number 39-2023, amending the schedule of fees for water and sewer service by increasing the charges and rates.
Motion from Member Nelson,
Second.
second from Vice Mayor. Roll call vote.
Mayor Diesel,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Robinson,
Yes.
Member Stokel,
Yes.
Member Cole,
Yes.
Member Nelson.
Yes.
Passes unanimously. We move on to 40-2023. Any staff comments? I see none. Council? All right, public comment. Call the cards on
Stan Johnston,
40-2023.
Stan Johnson, North Solid Waste now. And that's in charge by Mr. Cook. He's doing a marvelous job at that. I'm not sure how he can continue doing a marvelous job because now he has water resources under him, which I've just been criticizing heavily. What I want to share with you is that in spite of all the other duties that he's been given, is that he has helped us with four-log virus. It's the first time in the budget, which Mr. Stauffer screwed up. And he's helped us with a number of things. In fact, as I understand, the fountain at Spaceview Park is now gone. It's gone. We've been sewage in it numerous times recently, and it's gone. Thank you. And so he's, in a similar manner, he has handled, and so did his predecessor, Jim, and have handled solid waste fantastically. And I just give him praise for that. So I thank you for what he's doing.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Kevin. Any other cards? We shall adopt ordinance number 40-2023. I would look for member, first of all, I got two things. Vice Mayor?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I move to approve ordinance number 40-2023, amending section 16-116 and 16-117 of the Code of Ordinances by increasing the solid waste service charge and rate.
Second.
Motion by Vice Mayor, second by Member Cole. Roll call vote.
Vice Mayor Robinson,
Yes.
Member Stokel,
Yes.
Member Cole,
Yes.
Member Nelson, Mayor Diesel.
Yes. Passes unanimously. We move on to adopt ordinance number 41-2023.
Mayor, can I say something?
Please do.
Real quick. I just want to say I appreciate Mr. Cook. He has been working on the sewer lines. Some of those sewer lines are old, and I noticed today in the reading we were getting rid of another cast iron force main. Was it a force main? Which is probably not in good shape, but I appreciate trying to get the sewer lines off the river and protecting our lagoon. So, thank you.
And I know that's a major, major task. I appreciate that as well. All right, so now we move on to 41-2023. Any comments from council? Call the card.
Stan Johnston,
Guess that's part of our capital.
Stan Johnston, for many years, a big problem we've been having, big problem, and that is that that we get citywide boiled water alerts. And so we had in the last 2 years, we had Mr. Stauffer report on why do we have these citywide boiled water alerts. In fact, I know of one restaurant that claims it lost in one day over $30,000 because of this citywide boil water alert. And I think Jolene Nelson knows who that is. So, what is happening now after maybe, I don't know whether it's been 15 years we've been under this four-log virus or whatever it is, but finally, while Mr. Cook is here, we finally got $5 million to correct that problem that Mr. Stauffer lied about. He lied about the council about it. He lied to you. In other words, that first time when I said, hey, you know, something's wrong here. Something's wrong. Why are we having it? And then I found out from FDEP, hey, this needs to be in the capital budgets. We need to correct this problem. Because I know, in fact, I even talked to a PE today in Water Resources and said, yeah, I mean, by the way, I call this Russian roulette. In other words, it's different. I'm a civil engineer, and I've never heard of this kind of stuff. And I know of no city in Florida comparable to Titusville, any city at all, that has this four-log virus problem that the city of Titusville has. None. None. So why in the world did we have it? Anyhow, I call it Russian roulette. In other words, people can have the testing results and they get it, and some people don't get it at all. A lot of people just never get it. And it's happened numerous times. I say numerous times, maybe 5 times. I'm not sure how many times in the last few years. Maybe the last 10 years or something. But then it's happened a number of times. And the city the city water department, what would they tell us about it? Nada. Nothing. 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 And you guys are supposed to do something about it. Finally, we're doing something about it in 2024. Finally, after all these years of nonsense and dishonesty and fraud too. I'm ashamed of what you guys are doing. I'm ashamed that you don't put blame where blame is due. You should be responsible. This has been negligence on the part of our water resources and our council, not to know what's going on. And the city manager too. Shame on you. Shame on you. I'm ashamed of you. And I'm ashamed that the city of Titusville is the only city I know that's had this problem with four-log virus. And I'm still asking for what other city in Florida has this problem. Thank you.
Any other cards? Council? See no lights, motion?
I'll make a
Nelson?
motion. I move to
excuse me.
approve ordinance number 41-2023, adopting the enterprise funds and capital improvement program budgets of the city of Titusville.
Second.
Got a motion from Member Cole, a second from Member Nelson. Roll call vote.
Member Stokel?
Yes.
Member Cole?
Yes.
Member Nelson?
Yes.
Mayor Diesel?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Robinson?
Yes.
Passes unanimously. I believe that's it on the budget. We move to petitions and requests. All right, petitions and requests in a special meeting, of course, it would have to do with what we're talking about tonight. So petitions and requests, you don't need a card.
May I speak? Okay. Stan Johnston, and I think everyone should notice that I'm not getting comments back from this criticism and so forth about towards city manager, council members and so forth, because you just want to keep it quiet. And it's not right. Like, for example, right now is that I've sent emails out about this survey at SNJ Oaks. It's been going for over 2 years. It's wrong. And the city of Titusville has admitted this survey is wrong, and that the city, that for months and months, it continues to approve the survey. And I even had Mr. Joe Robinson go out there, and I showed him that the corners don't make any sense. In other words, you use those corners. It shows that the sidewalk on the other side of the street is in private property, big time. Big time. Fact is, it's the southwest corner is off by over 4 feet, which I knew back in February of last year. So I think cities should spend some money on getting these things straightened out. I mean, for example, building department, what they could do, Mr. Parrish could do, is he could go to the city survey and say, please look at your city survey. He disagrees with this completely. The fact is, I even had the survey in my hands, and I've sent it out. And my goodness, it just disagrees so much with the survey by Mr. Snow. The fact is, I find no corners that it's shown on, in other words, there's a survey going, it shows these corners. I go out there, and the contractor survey goes out there, and we didn't find one of them. None of them. None of them. None of them. And yet, the city of Titusville approves this project, this survey and site plan and preliminary plat. Complete nonsense. So you need to spend your money where you should. And in this case, somebody's getting hurt bad. The owner, the contractor, and the people are going to get hurt by this. There's no question about it. It makes complete nonsense. It disagrees with city surveys, it disagrees with coastal surveys, it disagrees with monuments that are out there that are not shown on the survey. So I think you should straighten up what your situation with money and listen to what I respond to my emails, which you don't. Please respond. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else with a petition or request? Tony, no singing, no dancing. Okay, you can dance.
People are too young. Schiffelo, Historic Norwood House, historic person myself. I've been coming to these budget meetings since fiscal year 2020 we were planning, 21, 22, 23, 24. I'm not naive to the game, even though I really appreciate some of the staff sending me information when I said, I really think we need to have more explanation on how the budget is derived. I look it over. I've been part of the process for a number of years. Staff sent me a detailed explanation. I still don't really get it. And I just wonder, I try. So just imagine how people that don't even try don't understand what the heck is going on here. And no wonder why they complain so much about, oh, we're paying all this money and nothing's being done. The trash isn't being picked up. The water is bad all the time. There are all these notices. The river stinks. The downtown is nothing happening. People complain about these things, and they come to these meetings and they put input. I keep the notes. Here's a whole list of people's comments. One of the things that recurs is we'd like to have the outfalls of stormwater tested so we can tell what's going into the Indian River Lagoon so that we can prevent some things that are happening by knowing what's going into it. So I didn't really come up here to bitch about stuff or complain. I really would save my complaints for the county council and the shenanigans they're trying with the budget, first eliminating the arts and then saying, well, maybe we could pay for some, and then demanding that the cities pay more money even. How much do lifeguards cost? Maybe we should go get jobs as lifeguards. They must be very highly paid, because we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars, several $100,000 out of the arts budget, for instance, that went to that. And I realized that they finally changed their mind about denying voters information, thank goodness. So that would be where I would complain. I don't really have many complaints about this council because you do try to respond, and I do think that staff tries to respond also, but there's some kind of disconnection between what the people think and expect and what happens. And I'd like to see some kind of smoothing out of that disconnection. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Schiffelo. Anyone else? Collision, turn 4.
Trenton Mansfield, yeah. Just want to rebut what you said, Jolynn. You said you work for the state attorney's office, right? The state of Florida?
I was a prosecutor, and I will say,
State of Florida though, right?
for the state of Florida, for our
all right,
county.
All right. I have also worked for the state of Florida for
Right.
17 years, and we did not get raises every year. It was a long time that we did not get raises. It was almost 10 years that we did not get raises, from Charlie Crist all the way through Rick Scott, that we did not get raises. So getting raises every year working for the government, that's really not a thing. I mean, it's great, it's awesome. We've gotten some really big raises, but we didn't get raises for a long time. And I can go down that road. It's a whole long story, but
I will agree with you. There was a period of
yeah, it was a long time.
7, 8
Long
years.
time. Yeah.
Where none
Charlie
of
Crist
us
gave
got
us a
raises.
$1,000 bump bonus,
Yeah.
and then after that, it was a long time. You remember 2007? Yep.
Yeah.
You were there.
I was there.
And last year, you raised our property taxes here in the city almost 10%. So maybe, possibly, because we're going to be starting the budgetary process here soon, February, which is like right around the corner. Maybe, possibly, maybe, I mean, dreams do come true, right? We could go with the rollback rate next year, maybe, possibly. No? I mean, we can smile and talk about how we're conservative and all this other stuff, but until we actually vote it, it's just, talk's cheap. So we could work hard and we could go with the rollback rate and, or just a little bit above it. And buildings are being built here, houses are being built here in the city of Titusville. So we can, I would hope we could do better. Maybe we can. I don't know. I'm hoping we can. And elections are around the corner, and but that's all I got to say. Thank you.
Hey, good words, well said. Thank you. Member Stokel.
No, Trent, I had a question for you. Just bringing up with the raises, so mentioning that, is your suggestion, would you prefer council to not give raises?
Did I say that?
Well, you're saying
I
we can
say
go
that?
with the rollback, and so if we're going to have the same budget, that would
Did I
eventually mean.
say that?
No, you didn't. I'm
There's
asking you.
ways to
I'm
cut,
asking you.
there's ways to cut the budget. And there's ways that we don't have to raise taxes every year. Because if that was the case, many cities that do go with the rollback rate and give raises at the same time, there's ways to do it. I mean,
And I'm not trying to be combative, but I'm truly asking for suggestions, because you have to understand there's other things that we're trying to balance out when we have infrastructure and we have main breaks that put pollution into the river. Like, there are things that we are trying to fix that cost money. And unfortunately, things are a lot more expensive than they used to be, because
Yeah, I
I'm with you.
understand.
I keep trying, and
understand that.
every time I try to go back and lower our millage rate and reduce expenses, I'm with you there.
if we think as a city of Titusville that we're going to fix that river, if we really truly think that, we're crazy.
I would
Because
agree.
we're
I would
not.
agree with you there,
We,
but there are
the
things
city
that
of
we can
Titusville, will
do to
never
potentially help.
Fix that. We can throw quarters at it, but we will never fix that river. You know who needs to fix that river? Tallahassee needs to fix that river. But we can raise taxes to oblivion here in the city of Titusville to fix the river, but are we really fixing the river? The state of Florida needs to do something about the whole intercoastal.
I'm not going to disagree
And
with you
and
there.
if we think we're going to spend millions and millions and millions of dollars to fix the river, we're crazy. And I'm not against the river. I'm not against it. I'm for the river. But if we really truly think that throwing millions of dollars, just the city of Titusville, or just Cocoa Beach, no. The inlet is Sebastian, and then what you call it, help me out.
Okeechobee?
Up there, those are the two inlets, and there's nothing in between. If we really think we're going to fix the river, just the city of Titusville, we're crazy. It took years to get to where it was at, and it's going to take years to get away from that. But we have to change the way we're doing things, but it's going to take Tallahassee. It's not going to take Titusville money. It's going to take Tallahassee.
There are efforts trying to get Tallahassee to focus in on it as well. So I just want you to understand, I hear
No,
you.
I
But there's
understand.
other things that we are trying to work on.
Look at
trying to
the
fix
Everglades.
problems
How
that
many
have
years did it
happened
take
years
for the
past.
Everglades to get fixed? And then finally, they did something about
Yep.
the Everglades. How many years? A long time, right?
Definitely right about that.
So
Long time.
all
So
that to
I'm just
say,
saying,
and I
it's
asked
going
you,
to
I
take
just wanted you to know,
Tallahassee.
I hear you,
No,
and
I
just
get it.
know that
I get it.
that we are trying, and we are trying to be creative and balancing that with lowering what we can. We did lower our millage rate. I understand, yes, taxes were still raised, But I think that when we have our discussions,
It's not going
we
to affect
understand.
me.
I know.
It's not going to affect me.
I hear you.
It's not going to affect me. I already said who it's going to
Yep.
affect. All right, thank
All
you.
right, thank you. Any other petitions or requests? That's, comes to the end. All right, first of all, I would say, it got said earlier by city manager, but this is the lowest millage rate we've produced in 15 years. I'm pleased about that. Would I like to get lower? Sure, I would. Member Stokel makes some good points. We're clearly trying to do our best. And I totally agree. We're not going to fix the river on a Titusville budget. I have said, from county commissioner to state legislature, it's like working on an aquarium. We can keep our part of the aquarium really, really nice, but if this part of the aquarium's not looking so good, it's going to get us too. So with that, I would say thank you to all of you very much. I think I did that last week, more detail, but thanks all of you, what you do every day, not just budget day. Anything else from council? Otherwise, city manager, you good? Meeting adjourned.